Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Was that win at the weekend over St Mirren a turning point of the season? Brendan Rodgers says that he's been particularly proud of some of the players at the weekend, and so was Anna. And the change of formation, I did say in yesterday's video, was fantastic. I thought that it was a bit of a masterstroke. I'm finally getting Louis Palma to actually find Kyogo with a ball, and was it just the fact that he played Kyogo behind either that give Kyogo that little bit of space? But the manager has said that Tony Ralston, Stephen Welsh, and Liam Scales have all been absolutely fantastic for him this season. The defenders have done their part in coming into the team. He says that, look, our centre halves did well today. He says the big guy up front is a handful. There were a lot of direct balls. And he says when you've got Stephen Welsh, Liam Scales, and Tony Ralston, they did fantastically well. It is a position where our main defender is out. He says, but you'll find that these guys will fight and give absolutely everything to you. He says they might be bit part players, easy for me to say this morning, bit part players, but they've never let Brendan Rodgers down whenever the Celtic manager has called upon them. Scales, well, has rise to the top, as you would say, at Celtic has been well documented. The Republic of Ireland defender, obviously wasn't fancied by the previous manager and was chucked out on loan last season to get him some game time. Could be the fact that he for one has turned the corner when it comes to his Celtic career. Now let's talk about the players. Now, what does it say the last summer? What does the last summer's transfer window say to you about when Brendan Rodgers first came into the team? It was well documented that all the players that were bought, bar maybe Phillips, who was a complete disaster, was all Ange Postecoglou's players. But yet at the weekend, there was just one from the team that started. There was only one player that was bought in the summer. When you look at it, the academy, we've all been saying about bringing players in from the academy, but when you look at the signings that were all the players that played at the weekend, there was very few from the summer. What does it say about the summer signings? There was only Lewis Palma. Lewis Palma has been the only player that has excelled from the summer signings. Lewis Palma has been one player that I think Brendan Rodgers has taken aside and having a word with. That pass that he did for Kyogo at the weekend was absolutely fantastic. The through ball from Callum McGregor was sublime. Getting into that open space, making sure that Louis Palma could run onto the ball, and then Louis Palma taking his time and getting his head up to see it exactly where Kyogo was and the run that Kyogo was making. And I think people are saying that Kyogo's sitting far too far back. Well, Kyogo coming into the box late at the weekend, absolutely no one was complaining about that one. And I think it's maybe been the case. I think it's maybe the case now that Brendan Rodgers is finally going to get the best out of Kyogo. And can I say it? The little man from Honduras, Louis Palma. I think he could maybe be turning the corner in his Celtic career. He's not now running to the byline and just hitting and hope that a player will be in a position. He's getting his head up and he's looking to see where the players are. Kerry Miller had a bit of a meltdown, I believe, last night on the one and only Snide FM. He says that Celtic fans are spoiled. Celtic fans are spoiled. It's always good to get Kenny Miller's view on things. He says, as Brendan Rodgers creates a siege mentality. The TV and radio pundit says that Celtic fans are unhappy despite the good form that the team has been in. And I'll give him his due. He did say on the radio last night that there seems to be a negative outlook from the Glasgow media. And we all know which side the Glasgow media mostly sit on, as we know. And that's why there's this narrative that Celtic are doing bad. And, when you look at the results, yes, the results haven't been all too bad. We've only lost 2 games way back in December. We are now into February. We've had quite a good run. And it isn't all that bad. Although this week we will probably lose the top of the league. So I wonder what will be said then, because it is probably the worst time of the season to lose top spot in the league. There's a lot of games still to be played. Let's not forget we play them twice, and I think we will beat them twice, and that's how we will retain the league. And we'll retain the league basically by beating them 4 times. Having managed 8 wins out of 9 outings without a defeat is not a bad set of results, but those 2 results back in December absolutely turned the Celtic support's head upside down. He said, look, whilst Celtic have this united front, he says Celtic fans need to be a bit more level-headed. Anyway, Lewis Palmer, let's get back to Lewis Palmer, because I think what Lewis Palmer did at the weekend, and that getting his head up and looking for the one and only Kyogo, I think it's changed his game a bit. Today, at the weekend, it looked as if he had been working a bit more with the manager. Tell me what your thoughts are on that. When you look at the players that have came in and played on that game at the weekend, it gives a little bit of hope for younger players. Gives a little bit of hope for people coming through the academy, like Rocco Vata. The fact that Tony Ralston can get a game at the weekend, came through the academy. Welsh came through the academy. These are all the people that we seem to give the hardest time to. And our one and only Callum McGregor. I mean, that's 3 players that came through the academy, and it's things that I think that's something that Celtic should be doing more of on an ongoing basis. And talking about one of the academy players that played at the weekend was Welshie, like Stephen Welsh. He says, look, there's no split. He says, Stephen Welsh, he says, we're determined. He says, we're determined to go on and be better before the end of the season. We want to prove that we are a good team and we can win everything that is still left to play for. He says, but when you think about it, people are saying there are cracks. There are cracks. He said there are no cracks. We are confident in what we do, says Stephen Welsh. The manager is confident in what we do, and we all stick together. It's not just the back four that are on the pitch. It is the squad. It's not just the 3 midfielders that sit in front, and it's not just the 3 that play up the front of the pitch, confirming that Brendan Rodgers' preferred side is a 4-3-3. He says, whoever comes on the pitch, we are all together, we are all united as a team, and we move forward. We do move forward with that. He says, after 3 testing away matches over 9 days, we go back to a full week's training, and then we're back to Celtic Park in Kilmarnock, and that is going to be a game in itself. Hard enough. 13 matches left to play. It is imperative that the fans and the whole stadium back at Celtic Park get behind the team, because let's face it, we seem to play a bit worse behind our own home fans, just a personal opinion. And it's the quietness of Celtic Park compared to the away fan base that is just maybe gets the backs up of the fans, the players. But he is saying that we're all together as a team. You would expect him to come out and say that. There's been a few other headlines kicking around. Joseph Juranovic showed some appreciation to the one and only keeper, the keeper that we said that should be getting replaced. But I think Celtic might actually give Joe Hart a new contract at the end of this season. Tell me what you think about that. And everyone says that we need a new keeper. Joe Hart saves us quite a bit over the last couple of weeks, but it's one of those crazy things. And an interesting one to finish on, a good news story. The Green Brigade and Celtic have landed on the strip of a South American team. I'll put the picture up now. And they've also put up with the Bank of Palestine. And it's a little nod to the Green Brigade and a little nod to Celtic, the fact that they have been supporting the people of Palestine. Well, not Celtic directly, but some of the Celtic fans. And just a little nod from a little unknown team in South America. So with that being said, on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world. And I wasn't live yesterday because I was with the Spanish farmers at one of their protests. Up the good guys.